Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday morning. We have a big, long video again with lots of information, but basically it's how to markle yourself in one easy step. I swear to God. All right, let's jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with Princess Catherine because several days ago I did a story and told you guys how she visited the Sudbury silk mills in Suffolk, and she was, smiling and hugging this man. I was like, whoa, she's really getting huggy. Well, come to find out, and I did not know this was Prince George's godfather, Jamie Lowther Pinkerton. He holds the Lord Lieutenant of Suffolk title, and he previously served as the first private secretary to Prince William, Princess Catherine, and Prince Harry from 2005 to 2013. I did not recognize him. He's also a former Special Air Force Service Major. Let's move on now to Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He jetted out and landed in, I believe it's pronounced Papua New Guinea. He's going to be there from September 14th through the 17th to mark the country's 50th anniversary of independence from Australia. Now, this is continuing even though they had the death of the Duchess of Kent. The funeral is going to be held September 16th, and so Edward will not be there for the funeral, but the king approved this, entire thing. So Edward landed, he walked off the plane, he was greeted by an entourage of people, as you can see, and then they walked up to I don't know what you call it, like a grandstand. I wouldn't know any other way to say it. And then I believe they played, there was a band in front of him, looks like a band. And so they played, there was a salute, you can see the powder wafting by, there was like a gun salute that he was there. Then, of course, he walked along and took a look at the people that were lined up. Then he got in the car and they went to, the next place that they were going to. Looks like a lot of pomp and circumstance for Edward. I really like that. He deserves it. Absolutely. Every bit of it. And I love this. I want to call it a lei because that's what they call it in Hawaii. I love the lei that they put around his neck when he got off of the plane. I think it looks really good. Now, after they got in the car, they went on to their next stop. I'm going to try to pronounce these names, but, guys, this is really hard. So he went and met the Prime Minister, the Honorable James Marape, and also the Governor General, Sir Bob Day, I believe is how you say it. And he was given it's called a kina gift. It's a traditional gift during the private dinner. It symbolizes the cultural heritage of New Guinea and the deep respect the nation holds for its distinguished guests. It's this big gold thing around Edward's neck. I think he looks lovely. Next up, we have King Charles and Queen Camilla, who attended church at Balmoral on Sunday. They looked very relaxed. It was the traditional service that they went to in Scotland. You guys, what really bothers me about the Daily Fail is they gave 2 lines to this story, and then the rest was all about, it's been an emotional week for the king. He spent time with Prince Harry. This could pave the way for Archie and Lily to visit their grandfather, how long they were in for tea, the last time they met. I mean, the rest of the story was taken up with this ridiculous line about, how Harry and them are doing a reconciliation. And I said it before and I'll say it again. You can't undo 5-6 years of bashing your family with one tea. Well, let's move on to Princess Anne. This is really cool. Princess Anne was joined by hundreds of other horsemen and women for the Edinburgh Riding of the Marches. But each year, this event, which is described as the jewel in the crown of common ridings, attracts spectators and riders from around the world. The horses follow a 26-mile route before they're ridden into the heart of the city to be greeted by thousands of spectators. This was first recorded back in 1579, and it was an ancient civic duty designed to ensure the city boundaries were secure against attack. Unbelievable. This tradition was re-established in 2009. They even had members of History Matters reenacting Team Fire. They were doing shots. I don't think they were real. And they were led by a cavalcade of the Edinburgh principal riders who were mounted on gray horses. Oh my Lord. So when they finally got into the city, and I found this interesting, Anne got off her horse and she walked into what I believe is a main office building area. And once she got up there, she gave a speech. She looks absolutely fabulous. You know, she was right in her element with this. I love it. Good for her. And let's move on to some really interesting news. Jessica Mulroney, reports are coming in that she is planning to release a tell-all where she can set the record straight on what went on with Meghan Markle. Oh my God. Now, some of this is going to pertain to, that racially charged incident involving lifestyle blogger Sarah Exeter in 2020, because at the time the issue was about quote unquote white privilege. It erupted into a scandal where Jessica lost a number of TV appearances. Now, this story, they're saying, is explosive, and it's one the publishers want to get their hands on. Depending on what she wants to say, she could get 7 figures. There's a huge interest in her perspective and her time in the spotlight with Meghan Markle. Would I buy that book if she's talking about her friendship with Meghan and what happened and how Meghan basically dumped her? Yeah, I would buy it. Apparently, she has receipts. No one had a voice for her. No one helped her get the truth out of at the time about what happened. So writing a book would be her chance to reclaim her power and counteract all the the false stories, like the one about her treatment of Princess Charlotte during the bridesmaid fitting. And so if she goes ahead with the book deal, she'll be able to tell everybody what really happened. I'm buying it if she writes it. Let's move on. All right, next up, articles are coming out saying Harry's going to face a challenge because, after all, Meghan doesn't want his kids to go to school in the UK. He's going to have to fight her for it. I told you before, that's such a joke. Those kids are not going to the UK. All right, next up, they're saying that when Catherine went to the silk mills, her choice of outfit was not worn by accident, because we know that she wears things, to send messages, and she wore the Prince of Wales check. And as smart as it is, they say that's often avoided because checks don't photograph well and can appear blurry. But apparently that was less of a concern than the message it conveyed. Now, as far as William goes, I told you the other day that supposedly William was trying to overshadow Harry because he had a week of engagements, and they're saying it was a last-minute bid to stop Harry dominating the headlines. And they said that while William's engagements, though, had not been publicly announced in advance, it's very folly to think that Kensington Palace quickly dreamed up some visits at short notice in a bid to overshadow Harry. Apparently, the visits are long planned, and in no way were things altered due to Harry. I have to tell you, Harry has been completely cut out of William's life. William, they're saying, is at the point where if you mention Harry in his presence, he would throw you out of the room. That whole PR blitz, they're saying that Harry reads his own polls. He knows he's one of the least popular royals, and he's trying to change it, and he wants to get back to being one of the most popular. But Meghan apparently doesn't care what, her perception is. William, they're saying, is even more determined than ever to cut Harry off. And it infuriates him that Harry is apparently pulling out a 12-month master plan to try to re-ingratiate himself. So now they're saying William is just indifferent. Harry is well aware that while the king will take him back, the British public won't. And so if you can believe this, he's hoping, it's being reported, that King Charles will publicly ask Britain to welcome Harry back to public life. Are you kidding? That is going to blow up in Charles's face if that ever happens, which I got to be honest, I don't think it will. We're getting some more PR puff pieces now, how Harry postponed his big 30th birthday bash back in 2014 because Princess Catherine had severe morning sickness and he didn't want to upset her. He's even trying to distance himself from what Meghan did on the Netflix docuseries. The articles are claiming he was red with anger after Meghan gave the dramatic rendition of her first curtsy to Queen Elizabeth. Red with anger, my tushy. Not only is Harry sitting there looking at her, watching her talk, she goes down to do this ridiculous, over-exaggerated bow. Harry's looking at her, and then Harry looks up because there's somebody standing to the side, and then he starts smiling. He's smiling. He's not upset at the least bit. He's totally going in with what she's doing. I'm sorry. I don't know who said he was angry. He's not angry. Now, before we move on to our big story, Royally Sage on Twitter pointed out that something was going on with the As Ever website. So I went on there and I screen grabbed this. You could literally pick something, like I just chose something. And then when you go to check out, it said total amount due, 0. And all you had to pay was the $7 in shipping. I was like, what the hell is that? So I don't know what was going on, but you could buy up to $50 worth of products and all you had to pay was the shipping. Something weird was going on with the website. By the way, I didn't order anything. All right, next, we know that while Harry was on his PR initiative, Meghan finally sat back and shut up for once. But the second he was on his way back, oh yeah. All right, let's move on now to our big story for today. All right, guys. Here we go again. You know that Harry's PR team has to be absolutely furious because after spending all this time on these big PR initiatives trying to rehab his image, Harry opened his big fat mouth and put his foot right in it. Here's what happened. The Guardian was invited to go with Harry to Ukraine. So they rode along with him while interviewing him along the way and having Harry say his word salad stuff, losing a sense of community, being part of a team and camaraderie and adrenaline. It's the heart of your job. Your role is serving a purpose bigger than yourself. Nobody should feel embarrassed or ashamed about their disabilities, blah, blah, blah. He's giving his whole, PR word salad stuff. During the interview, he was quizzed on the possibility of further meetings with the king, and Harry said, well, the focus really has to be on my dad. And then Harry said, I know that speaking out annoys people. It goes against the narrative when he was asked about the spare. This is what he said. There was a series of corrections to stories already out there. One point of view had been put out and it needed to be corrected. It was a difficult message, but I did it in the best way possible. My conscience is clear. It's not about revenge. It's about accountability. He said it was not airing dirty laundry and it wasn't a matter of stubbornness. It's about having principles. He said you cannot have reconciliation before you have the truth. Just as a reminder, I find those statements very interesting. This was just setting the record straight. Then why did you tell the world that William was circumcised? Nobody needed to know that. Why did you tell the world that you sent a fighter jet after your dad to blow him up? The world didn't need to know that either. You also used the book to put the blame for your Nazi costume on your brother and his wife, even though you were in your 20s, and you were the one who was caught using racial slurs against a fellow army person, but yet continued to call the royal family racist. So when he said that over the next year, the focus has to be on my dad, I think people are going to start speculating why. Maybe the king's health isn't so good. Then when he said all of this stuff about, I don't believe I aired my dirty laundry in public, it was a difficult message, but I did it in the best way possible, my conscience is clear, blah, blah, blah. What that shows is that Harry has literally no self-awareness and he still takes no accountability for the things that he did and said and for all the hurt and damage that he's caused to the monarchy and to his family, and he has no remorse. This was right after the whole PR push to rehab his image. Like I said at the beginning, his PR people are probably crying in their pillows at night. Now, keep in mind, when they asked him if he had any regrets and he said, "My conscience is clear," he was only talking about despair. He actually has not addressed the things that he and Meghan said in the Netflix docu-series. He's just going to leave that one alone because, we've already debunked most of what they've said. But now the news has gotten a hold of this, and of course they have better words than I do, so listen to this.
So to give this full context, this is an interview that's just dropped in the last couple of hours with the Guardian newspaper. A journalist was invited to travel with Prince Harry and his entourage to go to the Ukraine, and they spent time there. And this is what the focus of the feature article was all about, the work in the Ukraine. So let's, credit that. But of course, the breakout story becomes something else. Now, the journalist did ask him about how he's being perceived these days, and he feels the press want to paint him as this kind of lonely, sad figure, which he absolutely says he's not. Now, where I think he's come unstuck with this interview after a week of really good PR, I think there was a lot of ground that was gained by him being over there, making donations, seeing his father, working in the crowds. Now he kind of spoils it because they ask him if he has any regrets at all about how the last 5 years have played out. And he makes it very clear that he has absolutely no regrets whatsoever. My conscience is clear. Maybe things could have been worded better, but he's given nothing. He is adamant that he's done nothing wrong. And that's where I think the sympathy he may have garnered in the last week has now kind of been tossed aside. Just my opinion. But certainly that interview now is going to get people talking, just dropped in the last couple of hours.
And Now, I've told you this before, and I'm going to say it again. Harry's going for the half-in, half-out life. And the reason I'm saying that is that he's claiming he wants to spend more time in the UK, but at the same time, he says it doesn't mean I'm miserable in California. I'm happy with who I am, and I like the life that I live. And he said, I feel support from the British public, adding in a message to his critics, I think the British public can speak and think for themselves. Because, of course, you guys, the people in Britain can't think for themselves. They are brainwashed. He finally conceded, while he loves the life he has, he's had to deal with some very stressful events over the last 4 years. There has been uncertainty and stress of the litigation and finding out certain things that have really, really hurt. But he's so glad to have reconnected with his favorite charities and a meeting with his dad and his friends. And so now they're saying he will consider returning to the UK with his children, even though he's had claims that the UK is not safe for them. He says, yes, this week has brought us closer. I can only say I feel like any headway Harry might have made just went down the toilet. And basically, he Markled himself. All right. You guys know what I want. Put those comments down and make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you very much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.